Well, you are in just a room here, right? I think everybody's ready to get out, so I'll try to keep this as short as possible. I think you all saw a little bit of the video up there. First off, thank you very much for having me. I think this is an important conference, and to be a part of it is something special for me. What you saw on the video, the Save the Dream part of this is so important, and what is going on in Times Square is so important, because what it really comes down to, when it's all said and done, I mean, it's about the kids, and it's about people enjoying the sport as individuals. Everything you're doing, obviously an important part, to make sure that the game is safe, to make sure that the game it has the credibility that it deserves. But when it comes down to it, it's about the kids and having fun on the field. And I think that's what that video shows, and that's what we had out there earlier today. It's easy to get lost in all of the negative aspects that we have going on. But all it takes is a moment. You can go out with the kids and you can see the looks on their faces, and you tend to forget, everything else that is going on in the game. I'm here to give you a player's perspective, of what we see and what we go through and what we've done here, and to give an idea of the positive of sport. Like I said, we've talked and heard a lot about the negatives and the issues that go on, but there's a lot of positive that sport does. It unites. That's one of the biggest things. It brings opportunities, and it gives responsibility. I think that's one of the most important things, is that responsibility. When we talk about uniting, even in my personal life, you can only possibly imagine what the game of soccer does. It's the perfect example of where do you get hundreds of thousands of people coming together to watch one event, people of different cultures and different backgrounds, to watch a World Cup, to watch youth World Cups, to watch different sporting events. This is what sport can do. It brings people together to interact and bring cultures together. For myself, for example, with the LA Galaxy, little did I know that I'd be playing with an Iranian national team player whose dad was part of the delegation of the Iranian national team when we played them in the '98 World Cup. That's part of the thing where you start crossing boundaries and crossing cultures. The rivalry that I've had with the U.S. national team over all those years, you would think that I would have difficulty with some of the players that I played with Carlos Hermosillo and Jorge Campos and those likes. And when it comes down to it, now, because of the game, Jorge Campos is one of my best friends. He's the one that I call up to hang out, and we have a good time. And when he's comes into Los Angeles. These are the part of the things that sport gives us, crossing all those boundaries. And for kids, if you could have been out there today to see what it's like for a kid talking about uniting, when they're there, all they think about and look at is the ball. They don't think about the issues that they could be having at their home. They don't think about the issues that could be going on at school. They think about everything that's going on at that moment and the fun that they're having out on the pitch. And I think that's one of the most important parts. One of the other things that I've had in my experiences in traveling and that uniting and giving opportunity is I had the benefit of going to Myanmar on behalf of the State Department to actually bring the sport of soccer to girls in the region that don't have the opportunity. And that's another example of what sport can do. It was something special to see young girls that usually don't have the opportunity to get out on the pitch, to actually stand in line and have a big smile on their face and a sense of anticipation, because they were going to be allowed to kick a soccer ball and take a shot on goal. And I can still remember a girl out on the field, and mind you, these aren't the best fields. They're not like the pristine fields that we all see. These are dirt fields, kids, no shoes on, and she runs up and she kicks the ball and she scores a goal on her friend. And the biggest smile on her face as she turned around and ran to me and gave me a high five. I was excited for her, and everyone started clapping. The parents in the stands, they started clapping. The coaches started clapping. These are things that we take for granted at times, but these are the situations that you have to realize that a lot of people don't benefit as much as we do with what the sport has to offer. For a lot of people, sport and for soccer and a lot of things, when we talk about the overarching picture, that's a fantasy to them. It's about what happens at the individual level on a Saturday, on a Sunday, with their friends after school. That's what the sport is about, and I think that's one thing that we need to remember. The opportunities as well that I've been able to experience and give, when we talk about the growth of this game in the United States. I think that has been important. The opportunities and the horizons that have been expanded in the United States, huge, amazing for kids to be able to play this sport. And because of the success here, other countries are taking that on. Like I said, with my opportunities to go to Myanmar, I also had the opportunity to go to Fiji, where rugby is the big sport, but kids had the experience of actually trying different games. And that's important to realize as well. Give the opportunities, give those moments that they can think are special. That's what's important for kids. And now I've talked about uniting, talked about opportunity, but the biggest thing I think, which affects me especially, it's the responsibility. And that's former players and current players. And I know we look at players and athletes at times and just go, oh, well, they won't do this, they don't have this time, they don't have this. I think it's about all of you out there. If you think that you have that chance to approach one of these players, take that chance. They might want to get involved. I'm the perfect example where a lot of people never approached me while I was playing the game, but now approach me now, and I'm like, sure, I would love to participate, because the athlete has a responsibility to give back to the game which made them successful. If it's on the field, if it's within the business, wherever. But for me, it's about being with young kids, giving them the opportunity to participate in sport. So I love when different charitable organizations come to me and ask me to do things. I'm more than happy and more than willing. I think that's my responsibility to give back. One of the biggest questions is I dedicated a field in Los Angeles just this last week. A coach of a youth team came up to me and said, a lot of people have come from here over the years and gone on to be successful, but few have come back. That's a problem for me. That's a problem. I think we have to realize as athletes that we need to give back. And I think there's a little bit of miscommunication that people think that athletes won't, but I think nowadays you see that everybody wants to give back. Everybody wants to have that social responsibility and give back to their children. I think for athletes, it's about realizing who you are, and what you represent. I didn't always realize the notoriety that I had and what I could give back, but now I definitely do. When I go out to New York, at Times Square, and I see young kids that I can guarantee you weren't even born when I stopped playing 8 years ago, come up to me and say, hey, Cobi Jones, I think you're amazing. That's awesome. And I asked, I'm all, what, did you Google me or something? I mean, how could you possibly know? But the sport transcends. It goes beyond. What happened 10, 15 years ago, kids, parents pass down to their kids, they still watch television, they put up old games, they know. They know exactly what's going on. So for me, I've had, even now, another realization how important it is for me to be responsible, to be that person that wants to give back. I mean, so when it all comes down to it, for me as an athlete, for all of you in your different businesses and your different ideas about sport and the game, I think we need to realize one thing, and the most important thing, and that's what I realized today again, and I always it gets reemphasized every time that I go out and participate with kids. And I would recommend, if you get lost and you're not sure what this is all about, spend some time with a kid, because it's all about having fun. That's what it's all, the basis of everything we're doing here, because we're playing games, we're playing sports, and the people, individuals and kids, are playing for fun. And if you don't think I'm right, well, go check the kids out. They know exactly what it's all about. It's about having a good time and being able to get away for a moment. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Thanks for having me here today. And